Greetings, fellow shipbreakers. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to the first episode of a new series of Ostranauts. If you would like to skip the game's overview, the character creation, or the details about this series, please use YouTube chapters. Ostranauts is a hardcore noir space sim. Manage life aboard your ship, and beware the cost of every decision you make. Scavenge and explore the boneyard. Create, build, and customize your ship. Hire a crew to help, but remember, nothing is more certain than death and taxes. You start off as an illegal, usually massively in debt, having taken a punitive mortgage out on a crappy ship, and every day can be a struggle to survive. The overarching goal of this specific series is going to be to balance investments in both the ship and crew. And let's get started. So here is the character creation. And I am not going to do any of the RNG character creation. It can be min-maxed. And personally, I feel like min-maxing the character creation and winning all the RNG events sort of ruins the early game. So without spoiling too much, I will tell you a little bit about that. Once you create your character, you have some decisions before you strike out and set out on your own. And if you know how those decisions work, you can end up skipping the whole I'm poor and starving phase of the game, which in my mind is like not great. It's better to be poor and starving. I know, strange, right? But just trust me on that. All right, so let's create a character. Yeah, there we go. Tired eyes. That fits me to a T. I actually like the hair. And I just need to fix the beard. I actually started with a character that, like, resembles me a little bit. Where is the beard color? I forget how to do that. Oh. Okay, here we go. Yeah. That's close. It's close enough. All right. So that's what I'll look like. The med techs take a glance at your chart, and then at your body, and then back at your chart. Immunosuppressed, lone bone density, hypovolemic standard condition for a young spacer on K-Lake Station. Born and raised as you were in the weak microgravity of a 33-kilometer asteroid. Doc says the insomnia is catching up with you. It's chronic around here, something likely caused by radiation and lack of sunlight. Your eyes work well enough for now, but they're still bad and they're getting worse. 18 years old and rapidly approaching middle age. Your muscles are feeble by Mars standards. They wouldn't stand a chance on Earth. No shit, you say. You're no Earther, and you never will be. A heart monitor beeps and then beeps again. The board tech scribbles a few notes and grants your work permissions, healthy enough to strip hulls in the boneyard, despite everything. Fine with you. Closer to the ships, after all, and you're going to get one. So you start off 18 years old, and dirt poor, and with a lot of very negative health conditions. And we are going to decide how to build our character. So this is the character generation screen. I am not going to be seeking adventures, which is like an RNG event, like because if you know the correct choices, you can have quite the OP character, which I don't want. So instead, I'm just going to be doing traits and skills. The way this works is every time you work on your skills or your traits, you age up. And the life expectancy of a shipbreaker living out in the asteroid belt is about 60 years. And once you get older than about 30 years old, you start to acquire health conditions. You know, you might become, you might get a bad back, you might lose your eyesight, you might go deaf. So in terms of character conditions, you're basically spending your life in order to prove your character. So you have to make some tough choices because you can't have a perfect character coming out of character gen. So the first trait, I am going to get rid of micro G hypovolemic because it makes you bad at everything. Basically, having a permanently lowered amount of circulating blood makes you tired, makes you weak, makes you everything. So I'm going to spend a year to cure that condition. Next, I'm going to spend a year to cure fragile. I don't want to be more physically easier to harm than most. That sounds very bad. And then lastly, I am going to get rid of the visually impaired. All right, I'm now 21 years old, still poor, and I'm going to start working on skills. One of the skills, which is very useful, is skilled in EVA suits. It allows you to operate and maintain while inside of a suit more efficiently, which is very handy for a shipbreaker. 24 years old now. Work on skills one more time, and hacking. Because you know what? Sometimes the legal route isn't the only route, and hacking opens up some doors. There we go, 26 years old. At this point, you could keep gambling or working on skills and traits, but I've chosen not to. I'm going to seek ship. Oof. This is a mortgage. Ouch. I'm going to continue my career one more year and seek a cheaper ship, because a 780,000 mortgage is brutal. A salvage pod is actually a relatively nice ship, but the amount of debt I would get for it would be rough. Here we go. This is about half the cost. I can live with that. So it is a little box sled salvage tug. It is about a ton. It has a 380k mortgage. That's about right. Now there are cheaper ships called like coffin ships that have basically nothing. I would have settled for one, but this is okay. Take the ship. And now that I have a ship, my resume is ready. And anything that happens to your character as time progresses is written down here. So for instance, when I was really young, I could hear better than most because, you know, when you're really young, you can hear high frequency things. But I didn't actually acquire any additional health conditions. So I'm a young adult, feeble, immunosuppressed, insomniac, slow metabolism, and unfit. Skilled in spaceship engineering, hacking, EVA suits, and zero-G ops. I have not traveled to any other systems. Done. Alright, now for the tutorial. Press space or the triangle play button at the top time bar. So that would be down here. It's not really a top time bar, it's the bottom right time bar. This tutorial I think is outdated. Click this objective box to focus on the objective target. Right-click the nearby power switch to toggle on the lights. Toggle power. Click your portrait and press I, as in India, to take a look at the items you have. Place your nearby clothes onto your character in the inventory screen. So, left foot, left shoe, left foot, right shoe, right foot. And it does matter. You'll get blisters if you put your shoes on wrong. And we've got a lovely jumpsuit with some very cheap freeze-dried food and a PDA. Collect your tote bag, pressure suit, and helmet from the nearby rack. So here is the loyalty tote. Oh boy, it's in bad condition. But the pressure suit and helmet are at least in relatively good condition. Next goal, pick up your toolbox and walk through the OKLG station and board your ship docked at the airlock. So here's my toolbox, and it has a soldering iron, which I'm going to put in the tote bag, a hacksaw, and a screwdriver. Very, very basic tools. The door to the K-Leg station slides open, and you're greeted by the familiar aroma of station vendor fare. spot prawn stir-fry in suya curry, kebab of chicken in a yaji spice rub, Szechuan beef with pink peppercorn. Your head knows that the meat is aquaponic or lab-grown or worse, but your heart tells you that anything prepared by human hands is better than Trencher's chow. Tired-looking spacers circulate between the bunks, the refuel kiosks, and the breaker yard, moving in and out of the gossamer haze of cigarette smoke that is a permanent fixture on the station. The smokes are Sagara Viceroys and the breaker brand of choice. Folks here will chain smoke them unfiltered no matter how many times Ayadu Miwa execs find them for overworking the CO2 scrubbers. Your ship is waiting in port, not far from the kiosk hub and the scrap shops. Once you find it, you can finally undock from this rock. If you want to strip ships for salvage, all you need are hand tools you own, but you'll need a welder to start remodeling and repairing hulls. Either way, if you're lucky, you can start finally making a living. Something beyond the corporate-sponsored rat race of breaking ships for daily wage. A life you can call your own. So this is the port of K-Leg, and this is going to be your main hub at the start of the game. A tiny bit of UI explanation before I really jump in. Home is your PDA, which allows you to go through a lot of screens. Some that are often missed is the socials tab. So these are my biological parents in game. And then the pass is something that people forget about often, which allows you to move around Ganymede more quickly, which is where this station is centered at. Points of interest. We have the transit floor here, which allows you to transfer to the other sections of this station. This isn't the only one. There's a commerce section. There's a hub, so on and so forth. We have got a scrap vendor kiosk here, a supplies vendor here, some food carts here. We've got the refuel kiosk here, and the ferry floor, which you can also access from your PDA. A way to sell cargo, and the gig nexus, which gives you jobs. Licenses only is for licensed pilots to sell everything, but a license lasts for 24 days and costs 5,000. I have 100 credits, so yeah, can't buy that yet. Now the game wants me, as a goal, to go to my ship, and I'll do that. And my ship is docked here. This is my little junker. Oh my god, is it a junker? I hate love it. Thank you for being a junker. So, you've got different types of doors. Regular doors, they're airtight, but they're not airlocks. And then airlocks. And then, what am I looking at? So, here's the important things. This is a switch. This switch enables this battery, which is probably a battery backup. We've got a thruster here, which is RCS thrusters, allowing you to maneuver. We've got cans. So this is a nitrogen can used to power up the thruster. And this is an oxygen can used to oxygenate the cabin. This is my O2 alarm, because apparently there's barely any oxygen in this ship right now. It's super depressurized, and that's super not good for me. So at the bottom left here, my gas pressure is really thin atmo, which is going to cause me critical hypoxia if I hang out here for too long. Joy! And that's because my airlock is not airtight, I don't think. Yeah, it's not. I'm right now exposed to space, so I'm going to get back inside before I asphyxiate. Because, oh my god, this ship sucks. And I love it. It's a fixer-upper, let's say. And yeah, you can see my expression down here now. The wide eyes. It's because I was exposed to space and started to get hypoxia and tingling in my extremities. Oh joy! Nothing like a little bit of death to start the day. Then, importantly, this is the nav station where you do the steering, and it will log what you've done, and it will also it will enable you to remember where you're going and what you've done and all that stuff. You have an antenna which broadcasts your transponder ID, and right here underneath these wiring is the transponder. Without a transponder and an antenna, you're basically flying pirate, you're flying illegal, and you will be stopped by the authorities. So you need a working antenna and transponder. I'll go a little bit more into detail later. Now, what does the goal want me to do? Press X to see how worn out items are. Okay, so X is your durability overlay. The whiter it is, the better it is. The deep red is bad. So for instance, this is a patch. The floor panel on my ship here broke, and it got patched with a slapdash patch. The wall section here is also patched behind my Nav Console, so it will very easily give out. And basically, my entire ship is pretty poorly constructed. So the first thing I want to do, well, the goals. Click the nav station to restore it and remove some wear and tear. I'm not actually going to do, well, okay, I will do that, but I just need to catch my breath. So I'm going to put on a pressure suit. And in order to put on the pressure suit, I need to take off the coveralls. So yes, I'm in my undies. Oh, and I need to take off my sneakers. I forgot about that. And the pressure suit doesn't have an internal supply of oxygen. Instead, it just like makes you airtight, but you have to regularly take off your helmet to refill the oxygen or you will die. Pressure suits are not very good. So the tutorial wants me to restore my nav station. So if I right click the nav station, we have some options here. Now, importantly, it's not just the nav station here. It is also the floor beneath the nav station. So if you want to select different layers, a really good example of this would be like here. There's an RCS intake, a N2 canister, and a floor. And I can interact with all three within the stack. Some areas like this has a conduit, an intake, a light, a floor, and often you will even have a wall. So there's a lot of different layers, and you can see the layers here. So you can either keep right-clicking to change between the layers, or you can just select the layer that you want to interact with here. So let's go and restore the nav station. And I also like to link it to my PDA so that if I have alerts, I get the alerts on my PDA. So if I'm not near the nav station, I hear the alerts as well. Because I am now using electrical and robotic engineering, if I right-click on my character, I can see that I have, I'm just started training robotics and electrical engineering as a result of repairing this nav station. As you use skills, you level up in said skills. And your ability to repair faster also is affected by the tools that you use. So like right now, I think I am using a regular screwdriver, but if I had a drill, a powered drill, it would be faster. Okay, goals. Use the nav station to take a look around local space. All right, so here is the controls. I'll go over this because this is a hell of a lot of information, but you always have this note piece to remind you. If you want to take a look around, instead of RCS maneuvers, because right now we are docked with K-Leg, I'm going to do map controls. And with map controls, WSD allows us to pan around. You can also have different levels of zoom out here. So if we're going to go way out to the solar system, here we go. You've got, you know, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. And this is the whole damn solar system. Oort cloud, etc. Traveling in this game is very much like Kerbal Space Program, where like you just can't get to another planet like that. It's very labor intensive, very expensive, very time intensive. So almost all of the gameplay today, if not all the gameplay, will be the boneyard around Ganymede. So this green circle is Ganymede. And we are right here. Our ship docked with the OK leg right there. All right, what does the goals want me to do? Click the comms console to see the comms commands. All right, let's do that. So here's the comms commands where we can request to undock if we've paid our docking fees and all the bills. And then we can also hail other ships. And right now it wants me to hail OK leg and request clearing to undock, which I actually don't want to do, so I'm going to ignore that part. Because... And this gets into slightly spoiler territory, but really not much at all. We are an unlicensed ship at the moment, which means if I dock with a derelict, I'm breaking the law, and the fine can be very, very steep. So as a result, the first thing I want to do is actually take a gig, so that because what can happen is if I do go to a derelict and the derelict doesn't have a lot of salvage, and then the police show up and they're like, hey, you're salvaging this illegally, here's a $15,000 fine, I am screwed. I need to somehow salvage up $15,000, or I can't come back to K-Leg and sell anything because my ship would be locked down. I wouldn't be allowed to leave. I don't want to go into that like downward spiral right at the start of the game. It's a bit of a gamble chance, so instead of gambling, I'm going to take a gig. Not all gigs are going to be easy to do. I want to take an easier one. So, investigate death is often a pretty easy one, depending on how far it is. 600 kilometers is not super close. Caden Aiden. Wow, you have a sad name, dude. 600 kilometers away. I don't know how much fuel I have. I hope I could make it. So this is the refuel portal, where you can refuel your RCS N2 gas and refuel your oxygen, which I could right now, but I don't even have the money to refill my ox tanks. I'm going to take a gamble and try to do this initial gig, this investigate death. So the way to read this is the payout is higher the less time I take. So if I take 45 minutes, it's 36,000. If I take 3 hours, it's 9,000. The faster I do this, the better. It is 600 kilometers away, so it's not going to be easy to do. I could look at the other ones. I don't really want to get involved with criminals because they could fight back and I don't have weapons. So the payout of this courier mission is obviously amazing. The thing is, it's 1.2 astronomical units away. Forget it. That might as well be on, Alpha Centauri. A crane. Board the Terrible Leaf. Find and hurt a dude without rendering him nope. Security detail. Nope. If the payouts are like really, really high, it's guaranteed that's nowhere near you. This is really easy to do, but it doesn't pay great, but I don't have to do anything. I pick up something within K-Leg and deliver it within K-Leg. So maybe I will take this gig just to show you the gigs. Oh, cannot take gig at wrong kiosk because I need to go to the K-Leg commercial. No, I'm going to take the investigate death. Ow, I can't even pay the contract. Okay, you know what? We're just salvaging. Illegally. Because I can't even pay the fee to take a contract. Because you have to put, like, down payment on it to say, hey, yeah, I'm serious about this. Alright. Helmet on. Do some illegal scavenging. Great. Time to break some laws. Yep, no problem. Just means I'm only going to dock on ships that I think are profitable. All right. I also... no, I guess this is fine. So once I'm within my ship here, this door will close and it will oxygenate. Just not great. So here we go. Hail ship. Request docking clearance. And I've paid off my bills, so we are in the Tripping Rabbit. That's the name of my ship. I'm going to unlock the clamps. And here we are. M23MD is our transponder, as you can see up here. And I can turn on and off my transponder here if I wanted to. I'm going to keep it on because, you know, I ought to. Zooming out a little bit, I don't see any police. So what I'm going to do is go to... let's say this ship here. Clicking it as a target. And then up here in the tracking mode, I'm going to track my own ship so I can see my own ship. I'm going to go to RCS maneuvers. And then, actually, before I do anything, I want to save. Yeah, our father is a criminal. I hope to do legal salvage in the near future and buy a license because it actually makes it a lot easier to sell your stuff. As long as you know what you're doing. All right, so we have undocked. Here's our little Tripping Rabbit. And I am selecting this ship as a target. Then we're going to use E and Q to rotate our ship. And I want to bring the bearing, BRG, down to about 0. And accelerate. I'm also going to change my throttle here so that I'm not... I want my accelerometer to be, like, let's say, 0.8 G. And if it's too high, it will knock me unconscious, and then I might go crashing into something. All right, I'm already moving 120 meters per second towards the target. That works. What I want to do is I want to bring my cross velocity, this VCRS, down to 0. And if my VCRS is at 0 and my bearing is at 0, I am aimed straight at my target. So we'll bring that down to 0, and I'm actually going to change my throttle. I have such a light, tiny ship that I don't need throttle max. And the lower the throttle, the easier it will be to maneuver. So I'm going to be moving there at, let's say, 150 meters per second. And here we are in our little rinky-dink ship. I'm actually going to raise the audio a little bit. Thanks for all the gifted subs and the love in the chat. So, Board Drake, Dennis Keith, Mal, Dave, Klein, Shona, thank you. And the list goes on. Sorry, I was busy explaining stuff. All right. While I'm in here, one thing I could do is access the lock on this door. Or actually, I don't know the lock code, so I'm going to show you some things here. So using the nav station, if I go to print status, this will show me some statuses about my ship. So it is a D1D. So what this means is D is its current condition. So it's D out of A through F, so it sucks. 1 is how many rooms it has. It has 1 room. And then the second D is its like size determination, so it's like a small ship. I have 80 kilowatts of backup power. I have about 400 kilograms of oxygen. And then the other thing I want to show is the ship logs. So this ship log, I can see that the door pin is 8958. What I want to do actually is to reset this door pin to 0. So I'm going to use my hacking skills to reset the door pin. And I actually didn't need to use the hacking skills. I could just access the lock and go, you know, punch in the code. But I could also use my PDA to hack the pin code. So you'll see 8958, and I can lock it now. Now, the reason I locked it is now I can hit auto task. And repair up some of the absolutely ruined... Oh, you know what? I don't have a welding tool. Never mind. There's very little that I'll be able to maintain here without a welding tool. I'm straight up not used to being this poor in game. So I locked the door so that I would have been able to just sort of tell my character to automatically go maintain the ship without him going through the airlock and asphyxiating. But with my limited access to tools, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and not do that. Okay, I'm definitely resetting this bad boy to 0. So let's factory reset this door to 0, 0, 0, 0. While we're hurtling at 150 meters per second towards the nearest salvage. So brackets are the time tools here, and I will often sort of accelerate time. Oh god, this is such a junker. It's a coffin ship, isn't it? It doesn't even have corners. Dear lord. Alright, so now the door codes are reset. Cool. I'm also going to link my PDA to the vessel, and I'm going to rename the vessel the Frostal. Alright, let's see where we are. Zoom all the way in. We are 3 minutes away from our target. And when we're within 5 kilometers of the target, we'll be able to start to do docking procedures. I'm also going to change ship labels to name. The reason I like to do this is ships you've never gone to have these little stars. But once you've gone to them, they'll have names because you'll be able to read it from the transponder and the docking procedures. And allows you to avoid revisiting ships more than once. And the ship names are saved in your nav station. So if you're trying to build up a log of the ships that you don't want to revisit, it's your nav station. So if you switch nav stations, it will reset. All right, we are almost 5 kilometers away. And at 5 kilometers, it will throw up a proximity warning up here that we're getting close to something within 5 kilometers. I'm going to clear that so I don't have to listen to it. And then I'm going to go to the comms control, which is this bar over here. I want to hail whatever mystery ship this is, about 6 kilometers away, and initiate an uncontrolled docking procedure. All right, and here it is. So I'm going to decelerate, because right now, on the top left, I am moving towards it at 122 meters per second, and we're about 3.5 kilometers away, and my ETA to collision is 29 seconds. So I want to accelerate towards it, and DNA, or, you know, Delta and Alpha, allows you to move your ship cross velocity, and then R lets you stop drifting. And what I like to do is I like to have my ETA sit around 7 seconds or so until I'm down to a velocity of roughly 30. It depends on the acceleration of your ship. And there we go. Once it turns green, we dock. I know I made it look easy, but, you know, it's not my first rodeo. The clamps on your docking ring engage on your hull, and your hull resonates like a struck gong. While your sensors scan the vessel for data, you close your eyes and imagine the fortune that could await you on the other side. Perhaps you found a racing skiff, a nimble vessel with a lightweight hull, pushed around to a top-of-the-line RCS package, and a 4-can Myra Hydra intake regulator. Or maybe you've stumbled upon a multi-cabin pleasure yacht, an elite catamaran complete with a full bar and corridors adorned with yards of crimson and cream Van Hummel interiors. Or maybe it's just a dead freighter, a decades-old Tetsudo hauler packed with trash and sporting a giant hole where the reactor used to be. This is a junkyard, after all. All right. Whatever it is, you've got access now, and a bit of time before the IOSEC security goons harass you. If you're a salvager, you'll likely smash and grab the rare parts to fence back at the K-leg, cut whatever you can quickly for a buck, or with a license, trade for a bit of profit and for less pleasure for more resale reliability. If you're a mechanic, you could fix it up, make it fly. That's not all that reasonable for your first derelict, mind you. Derelicts go for a discount at the shipbroker, and any sweat equity that you put in after you buy it is yours to keep. You could even resell it if you're done for a tidy profit. I'll talk about that in just a second. Or if you're an outlaw, you could always just steal it. Sometimes it can feel pretty good to stay one step ahead of the Animiwa's security goons, if you're willing to give up docking at patrolled ports. So there is a pirate port, but it's much harder to make a profit at the pirate port. So if you want to go full pirate, you can, and you can base your run out of the flotilla. It's just not what I'm planning on doing. So talking about these choices, if you want to flip ships, you need to buy the derelict first, and it usually has a pretty steep sticker price. Even the cheapest derelicts to flip are going to be like 100,000. But that's something that we can do maybe a little bit later on. And there is a way for you to sort of steal ships. But if you steal a ship, if you don't legally own it, you can't legally sell it. And if you ever get into trouble with the law, they might also confiscate it. So running a like an illegal run where you're on a pirated ship can end with pretty dire consequences. All right, let's stick our helmet on. I am also going to drop my tool box because I don't have tools in it. And let's go figure out what we got. Now, there's a few other things that I wanted to mention. If you're able to dock from kind of farther away, oh, this is a bigger ship, nice. It usually means the ship is bigger. If you have to get really like nose to nose with the ship, it's a tiny ship. And then the moment you dock, it will give you information about said ship. So let me go back to the nav real quick. The moment we docked, I can zoom in and I can see sort of the floor print of this ship. So I can figure out where the loot is and roughly what size it is. So obviously the ship is way larger than mine. Are the ships procedurally generated? Sort of. Yeah, they are procedurally generated. There are, in terms of roleplay, there's a bunch of like standard size ships. So there's like a standard courier and a standard salvage and a standard gas hauler. But the actual conditions of the ship vary greatly. So no two gas haulers are going to be alike. No two couriers are going to be alike, you know? So they're procedurally generated in that way. All right, let's get in there. So going through the airlocks, and I'm going to toggle the power and equip my clip light so I can actually see what the hell I'm doing. So here's what to look for. There is going to be bins for us to rifle through. This bin just has trash in it. Cool. This is a pump, a turbo air pump, and it wouldn't be bad to uninstall. It's a kind of expensive part. Electronic parts. We have a Viceroy's cigarette box. We have some emergency jumper cables. Once you play enough, you can kind of start to identify things quickly. There's also a dude here. Oh, no. Oh, I'm out of here. Literally, there's a law enforcement officer, like, on this ship. Gasping for air. They're, like, suffocating. But, nope. Just big old nope. Nope. Undock. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching Ostranauts, which originally streamed live as a marathon December 21st and December 22nd. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. But please keep in mind this streamed once as a marathon and this episode was cut from it, so feedback cannot be incorporated. And also, no spoilers please, so please keep them out of the comments. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, people that participated within the marathon, and also viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, fellow Ostranauts.